A nation paused. Flags flew at half-mast. Leaders arrived from across the region and beyond. And in Doha, thousands gathered to say goodbye to a man many credit with helping transform Qatar from a small Gulf state into one of the most influential countries in the world. Qatar's father, Emir Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani, was laid to rest, marking the end of a remarkable chapter in the country's history. For many Qataris, this was not simply the funeral of a former ruler. It was a farewell to the architect of modern Qatar, the leader who took a nation from known primarily for its energy wealth and helped turn it into a diplomatic powerhouse, economic and global force whose influence reached far beyond its borders. Moments like this are about more than politics. They are about memory, about generations reflecting on how their country changed during a single lifetime. Older Qataris remember a very different nation, a smaller nation, a quieter nation, a country still finding its place in the world. Younger generations grew up in a Qatar that hosted global events, mediated international disputes, built world-class institutions, and projected its voice onto the world stage. For many, Sheikh Hamad's legacy is separable from that transformation. Under his leadership, Qatar experienced extraordinary growth. New cities emerged from the desert. Infrastructure expanded. Education and healthcare developed rapidly. Investments connected the country to every corner of the globe. A nation of modest size suddenly found itself playing an outsized role in international affairs. But perhaps what many will remember most is the confidence he instilled in the country itself, the belief that a small state could influence major events, the belief that diplomacy could be a source of power, the belief that size did not determine significance. As mourners gathered in Doha, the atmosphere was one of reflection as much as one of grief. For many families, the funeral became a moment to remember not only a leader, but an era that reshaped the Gulf region and altered perceptions of what Qatar could become. The passing of historic figures often forces nations to look back before they look forward, to ask difficult questions about legacy, leadership, and the future. What remains after a leader is gone? What lessons endure? And what parts of their vision continue guiding a country long after their voices fall silent? For Qatar, those questions now carry particular weight. The nation that Sheikh Hamad built continues to play a significant role in global diplomacy, regional politics, and international mediation. His influence can still be seen in institutions, policies, and ambitions that continue to shape the country's direction. And so, as prayers were offered and a nation mourned, this was not only a moment of loss, it was a moment of gratitude. Gratitude from a country reflecting on how far it has travelled. Gratitude from a generation that has witnessed extraordinary change. And gratitude for a leader whose legacy will continue to be written long after the funeral has ended.
The death of Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani has prompted reflection across the Gulf and the wider Middle East. His tenure is widely regarded as one of the most consequential periods in Qatar's modern history, a time during which the country dramatically expanded its international profile and influence. Many analysts credit his leadership with laying the foundations for the Qatar scene today. Investment in education, infrastructure, international partnerships, and diplomacy helped position the country as a major regional and global player. Under his rule, Qatar increasingly pursued an independent foreign policy, often acting as a mediator in conflicts and disputes that extended far beyond the Gulf. His legacy is also tied to a broader story about change in the Middle East, at a time when many nations were navigating uncertainty and transformation. Qatar emerged as a state willing to carve out its own path. Supporters saw this as visionary leadership. Critics occasionally questioned aspects of that approach, yet few dispute the scale of the country's transformation during his years in power. For ordinary Qataris, however, the story is often more personal. It is measured in opportunities created, institutions built, and the rapid development witnessed within a single generation. The funeral has therefore become both a national farewell and a moment of collective reflection on the journey Qatar has taken over recent decades.
As Qatar moves forward, Sheikh Hamad's legacy is likely to remain deeply woven into the country's identity. The institutions he helped build, the global relationships he fostered, and the vision he championed continue to influence the nation's future. The challenge for the next generation of leaders will be maintaining that momentum while navigating an increasingly complex world. But for now, the focus remains on remembrance, a country in mourning, a region reflecting, and a legacy that will continue shaping Qatar long after the ceremonies and condolences have faded. This is Breaking Silence. 3 stories, one common thread, different countries, different realities. A woman whose death barely makes the headlines. A child caught in the horrors of war. A nation saying goodbye to a leader who shaped its future. Different stories, but the same question underneath. Whose lives are remembered, whose voices are heard, and whose stories risk being forgotten. These are the stories that the powerful would rather keep in the shadows. Stay safe, stay compassionate, and until next time, keep watching, keep caring. And if you missed any part of today's show, be sure to go to our YouTube channel, Asia One News. I'm Craig Vermay, and you've been watching Breaking Silence.